Okay, continuing from the previous video. So what happened here is we inserted three records into the expenses table. Now I'm going to close this, and you see the data is not properly entered. I have not made samples like 1, 2, 3 like this. It's not a crap data, it's proper data. This way, this is highly important that if you're a tester, set up the data always properly. Do not make dumb data and people look at it and they don't get an idea. Now, many a times when I do test data testing, one thing I do is I create one record like this: name, sample, expense type, sample, type sample, 11.1111. Now, what this means is I want to make sure, and if I have more amount fields, I say 111102, 111113, like that. I put incrementally, but a very distinct number. I'll tell you why I do this. See, sometimes when you test this application, you go to the UI and start testing it, and you enter the data from the backend. And when you test it, name comes. So there will be on the UI in the screen, you will see name and expense type and amount. And name might and some developer does some mistake and they probably exchange the expense type with the name. So instead of showing the expense type, that field will show name and the name will show expense type. So we want to validate all the data is correctly coming to the right fields. So what you do is backend, you say a name sample, expense sample like that. Now we go to the actual UI, you will see name sample coming to the correct place, expense type coming to the same place. So one field I always put a sample test data. I will always put with the field name, only one record. Okay, that's a good habit. Now, now data is entered and everything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close everything and go to the expense report and select. And you see, I'm getting all the data here. Whatever I created is here, right? And how do I select data from a table? Let's read this. So I'm teaching select statement to you. It's really simple. On a table like this, if you expand table, you see these are the columns. Table has got 4 columns: expense ID, name, expense type, amount. A column is nothing but it holds a value, right? And this column has got 4 records and 4 values. This column has got another 4 values. A column and a row together makes a point called a cell. So this is a cell, this is a row, this is a column, and this is another cell, this is another cell. And if you look at from Excel standpoint, this is 1 2 row 1 column 2, this is 1 3 row 1 column 3, right? So these are cells, and the sum of cells is now a column can be a numeric number or a textual data, right? Or a currency. So let's see what a column could be in a design view of a table. This is called a design view. The design view, you give any name you want in a column, but typically you don't want to give columns like uh, type, data type, and things like that with the standard things. You want to give certain names like this. I want to take you to these things. These are the data types available in the SQL Server: big integer, binary, bit, all those things. Important thing is date, that holds date information. For example, if you want to store the birthday of a person, you choose date. You choose decimal if you want to choose a number, decimal number, right? It's mathematics. Float is very. I'm going to talk about only things which are important to you. Integer, integer is any number that is big, but there is long integer also. Money, if you want to store money. Nchar, if you see anything start with n text, nchar, n varchar, that means if you want to support international languages like Hindi, you want nchar, n prefix to it. And 1 second, okay? ഞാൻ പോണോ ചോദിച്ചേ? Yeah, I was in a call. If it's urgent, I can start now. Okay. if urgent. Okay. Okay. So in text means if you want to store Malayalam or Hindi or Chinese, uh, ordinary fields will not help you, right? For example, you can test it here. This is a name is varchar. Varchar means any string with a 200 character limit, right? You cannot enter more than 2000. Now, if you want to enter 200. If you want to enter more, you may change it to 2000. But typically, you put at 300 so that you can search faster or recall index faster and everything. Maximum is 8000. There are a lot of rules you need to read about it eventually, but they are not really important to understand the basic. But if you have time, instead of spending time on a movie, you spend time on reading this. Oh, what is this data types of SQL Server? Start reading all those articles and YouTube channels. Your life should be filled with YouTube channel, technology YouTube channels. Anyway, coming back, I spoke about some of the data types, right? So that's good enough from a type point of view. This field is an integer but automatically filled every time when you insert a record in here. What happens is this data, I never entered this. This is automatically filled 1, 2, 3. So this field says it will automatically be entered by as called identity field. It always enters by itself. Is identity yes? All you need to make it yes, it will start filling it. This is all about, this is covering a lot of basics about database already. Now you read a little bit, eventually within 1 year, you will pick up a lot about databases. Now, how do you delete a database column? That's a database column or anything. Column you can delete by design mode, delete this, right click and delete column and save it, you're done. But how do you delete record, right? Come here, edit, and click on this delete button. Do you want to delete? Yes, delete. Now, I don't like this column I want to edit it. I say personal expense, done it. Now I'm gonna close this. I'm going to make a select statement, and you see, blah. I got all the records updated, deleted. Everything is perfect, right? Now, this is a software using which the database is updated, deleted, truncated. You can delete this table by right clicking and deleting it, right? Delete the table. There are ways. So this is a select statement that you see, but you don't need to ever see write select statement. You can right click and open it, right? Right click, open. Everything is available. Now, when you learn more and more, you realize, oh, I want to write my own select statement. Go to Google and see how to make a select statement. And it's very simple. You just take any table, you say select expense ID from expenses F5. You got expense ID and you put a comma and you say name. And you got the expense and name. As simple as that. Now, if you want to make a select statement based on a condition where expense expense ID is equal to 2, you got you got the uh, you got the only that record selected. Are you guys with me? Hit. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So that's how you select data from a database table. Now, and imagine this database has got how many tables, right? Let me open up a table, and this table may have this database has got how many tables? You see the number of tables in the database? It's a system. You need to know all these database tables to understand the system. But guess what? Every table has got the same thing, columns, and you can delete, update, insert, as simple as that. So it doesn't matter how many tables you have. The operations that you do on a particular table is always the same. Okay. This is a test case table. You see, test cycle table. So this is a different, this is a software about software. This is a software about testing. about test cycles and all those things. But you see the columns and all those things now. I just wanted to give you a real example on how it would look like. Now, now I know how to select this record, but how do I update this table, right? That's another thing. So it's really simple too. I say update expenses table, name is equal to host expense, exp. I should never write it, but expenses to, and run it. You put a set here, set values, expenses to. Then I also say expense type is equal to 1. Expense. Okay, so I did that. Now the table is changed. As you can see, expense type 2, hospital 1, and 22, right? Now, sometimes I cannot enter 22. If I'm entering the amount to 22, what would happen is you'll get an error. No, I'll get an error. It picked up, right? Oh, okay. It picked up. But if I did this, would it have picked up? Yes. Okay. Ideally speaking, if I just did this, it will not work out because amount is expected to be a numeric number, right? You cannot put a into an amount. So some fields, like if it is an integer number, for example, if age is equal to 1, if I say something like this, it will not work because age is an integer, so you don't want to put this thing here, the single quotation. Okay, so remember that. So you need to do that's the only difference most of the times the queries I have got. Now there's a last piece to this. I want to delete this record. Why do I even need this record, right? Sometimes you say, oh, yeah, the person that expense is no more needed, so delete the record. So very simple too. Delete and table name expenses where just run it. You don't need to just delete expenses where. Now if you open it, the record is gone. So what you have learned now is a demonstration of how a database connection can be established, or create a database table, insert some records, delete some records, update some records, and eventually write and create a you've reviewed the various data types, create understood some data types, and also create identity column. That's all you did, right? Now, another 1 or 2 hours, you can actually get into a decent shape in terms of database knowledge, right? The next job that I want you to do is create an expenses table, expenses type table, right? And create a expense type ID there. And instead of expense type, you create expense type ID here and set up the data. That means you will have another table with expenses and expense types, and it will have three columns: expense type ID, name, description, 3 columns, and expense type name is going to be hospital and personnel, and expense type 1 and 2 will be mapped into this particular table with the expense type ID, right? Do you know about this concept yet?
Yes.
Yes or no? Who knows?
Yes.
Okay, so it's called relationship and everything. And after that, you want to join expenses and expense types and make a query and see how to join those tables and make a query out of it. So it's called expense type and expenses query. So can Shiny create a task called expense type and expense table and make a select statement, joined select statement, and submit it in a Google Drive. Shiny.
Okay. Yes. Today
Okay.
itself or?
No, no, you guys create the task. Whenever you do it.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not going to follow up on how you did this. I just want you to
Okay.
make sure that you guys are exchanging notes and you guys are learning how to do it. And if you have any
Just
questions,
the inner join, right? Simple join I have to.
no, no, no. When you do this, everybody has to learn joins, right? This is not a task for me.
Okay.
I want people to do this, then learn all type of joins, understand it, and I'm not going. There's no boss here who will come to you and say, "Did you do this? Did you learn this?" Nothing. You just take the notes, distribute to people. Whoever wants to do it, do it. If people don't want to do it, they don't do it. One day, 2 months later, or 1 week later, I will randomly ask people, "Did you know what inner join is?" I go, "I don't remember inner join." And I realize how where they stand. As simple as that. Okay, so that covers our database design now. This is a major step, learning fundamentals of
No,
database.
excuse me.
Yeah,
Mm,
hello.
I leave right now. I am working at Akshay Center now.
Okay, okay, no problem.
I will watch the
Yes,
recorded video.
yes, very good. No problem. Okay,
Your class is very wonderful.
okay, no problem, no problem. Thank.
Okay, bye.
Yeah,
Bye,
bye
everyone.
bye, bye bye. Yeah. So I'm continuing. I want you to understand databases. Uh, One day, if you're in software, you need to understand database. There's no escape from it. If you're a tester, you will have to one day go to the database and select it, make a select statement. At that time, your boss says, "Do you know the database?" You say, "Yes, I know a little bit." Uh, for that, you need to practice one day, 1 or 2 days. I would say 3 days dedicate for database. Learn database. Go to YouTube channels, go to wherever you can, learn and share with each other, learn with each other, socialist group, understand databases. So I'm going to stop this recording now and start another recording real soon.